Hi everyone and welcome back to Bonnie Astrology. Today we are talking about the full moon happening in the sign of Aries on the 9th of October 2022. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for regular updates. You can book a personal astrology reading with me and the information is listed in the description box. This full moon is very exciting because it is happening in the sign of Aries, meaning that this full moon is fiery. It is the blood moon as well, so there's an intensity to this full moon in October. When we have a full moon in the sign of Aries, it brings the attention and the energy back to the self, because it always happens in Libra season where there's a lot of highlights surrounding relationships and how we are relating to others, and this full moon brings the focus back onto the self. This full moon is conjunct Chiron, so Chiron is the wounded healer. And with this conjunction, it means that the full moon is bringing up wounds and insecurities surrounding the self. So watch out for feeling a little bit more self-conscious, noticing your insecurities. And with full moons, they have this way of bringing up what is in the unconscious. So if you have self-limiting beliefs, if you have limitations that you think will be with you forever, if you have fears or anxieties surrounding the self, surrounding what you can do, surrounding who you are, these may come up at the full moon, but they have a purpose for coming up. They're not coming up just to torture you. Conjunctions to Chiron, whether it's in your birth chart or whether it is in transit or with the lunations, they have this way of showing us what we can do with the wounds and the scars that we have. So if we think about Aries, and it is very focused on the self, and it can be about our appearance, this is about seeing your scars as beauty marks, seeing what they have actually taught you, seeing how they've made you maybe even a better person. Because the idea of Chiron is that the wounds that we possess, while we can't get rid of them, we can't heal them completely, there'll always be some kind of remnant of them. We can use them for the better. We can use them to help others. We can use them to help ourselves in the future. We see the gifts and the wisdom in that experience. So with this full moon, it's asking us simply to accept the wounding that we have surrounding the self, and also seeing the beauty in it, and knowing, because it is opposite the Sun in Libra and opposite Venus in Libra, knowing that others can accept us with those imperfections as well. Because of the opposition to Venus, it can bring up wounding surrounding relationships as well. This might be a time when you notice if you have insecurities surrounding the relationship that you're in, or you may notice how authentic you feel in the relationship, how authentically you're showing up to it, or how authentically the other person is. And this can be relationships in general. It does not have to be romantic. This can also be a time that we can share our vulnerabilities with another person. You might notice a key individual is playing a big part in your life at this time in order for you to heal some wounds. Someone is there as maybe a mirror, which can be a painful thing at times to have yourself and your wounds reflected back, or it can be that you have a confidant who is helping you through something that you're working through on a personal level, and you for them. There can actually be a lot of healing in relationships with this aspect too, because when we see the wounds in ourselves and we see our own insecurities and we tend to them with that love and respect, we can see our relationships improve. With this full moon, the work that you do in yourself will be reflected back in your relationship. So putting this sense of acceptance and putting this sense of self-love, and it's not necessarily about loving yourself completely, but it's at least accepting who you are, is going to benefit you in terms of relationships at this time, because the Sun and Venus are conjunct in the sign of Libra, meaning that this is actually a wonderful time for relationships. To further support this full moon, the ruler of this full moon, Mars, in Gemini, which will be going retrograde at the end of the month, and there will be a video for all the signs and what that's going to mean. Mars is going to be trining the Sun and Saturn, so there's this beautiful air grand trine, meaning that our conversations are supported, our capacity to think things through is supported, and also our capacity to find the right knowledge. This is one of those times where you may notice around this full moon that the right book falls into your lap or is recommended to you, the right YouTube video, the right podcast comes to you around this time that helps you learn what you need to know. If there's something that you're uncovering lately about yourself that you're working through, this full moon can show you exactly what the actual information is that you need and deepen it a little bit further. So you might notice around this time you have some breakthroughs in conversations, particularly as Mercury is now direct, albeit in shadow. And you may also notice that the right information is coming to you. This is Libra season. It is a time to be social, and in being social and having these conversations, we typically are more likely to find that information. Although if you are feeling like a bit of a hermit at this full moon, the information can still find you on your computer. It can be recommended to you. You can be messaging someone that can say, hey, I'm reading this book, I think you'd like it. I'm listening to this podcast, I think you'd like it. And all of a sudden something clicks and you know yourself better and you can work through something that maybe you've been struggling with for a long time, maybe even since 2018, 19, when Chiron was moving into Aries. So there may be information coming to you at this time that's really going to help support you work through these issues surrounding self-limiting beliefs, self-love, self-acceptance, or even relationships. I am going to draw a card for this full moon in Aries for the collective energy and see what it is that is coming up for everyone around this full moon. What's a good additional message for it? Ooh, the Man. Did this come up recently? I could be wrong. This is Ace of Cups energy and then we have the moon underneath. Lovely. Okay, so the full moon in Aries is actually a very masculine moon. I do think with the opposition to Libra and the opposition to the Sun in Libra and the opposition to Venus in Libra, where Venus loves to be, a lot of people, particularly men, may be putting their feelings on the line. There might be more of a stepping into the divine masculine with this full moon by self-acceptance, by understanding yourself better, by knowing yourself better and working through things. I feel like this is a wonderful moon to work on the wounded masculine energy within us. I think this is it's quite interesting actually, because I have noticed, at least where I live in this country, I have noticed it's come to my attention. It hadn't been on my radar before, but I've met a lot of men in the last month who they set up men's circles. So this may be something you're aware of, it's maybe something you're not, but it's encouraging men to talk more about their feelings. It's encouraging men to talk more about their perspectives in life, how they're doing in life, what they feel is expected of them, whatnot, and working together to help each other open up and be more emotionally expressive, be more in touch with their emotions. And that is just, to me, the epitome of healing that wounded masculine energy. A lot of people maybe are going to, maybe you're going to be joining one of these circles. Maybe you're going to be noticing a man in your life is becoming more expressive or wants to open up. We have that with Aries. Aries is the warrior, and sometimes it is a sign that can bypass the emotions and just get on with things. But the aspect of Chiron is giving me this element of healing the wounded masculine and becoming the divine masculine. I do think for a lot of men, this is probably an opportunity to open up about how you're feeling, especially with the moon underneath. I'm going to draw another. And the mice. Okay, this is a sign, this is very male focused. I'm sorry, ladies. I think this is a sign that if you are a man watching this, which is probably quite rare because the demographic on my YouTube analytics would suggest otherwise, but it might be that you are going to talk about something around this full moon that is gnawing away at you, and this might be a sign to do it. This might also be a sign that if there is something that you really need to get off your chest, now is the time to do it. If there's someone that you want to speak to about something that has been with the mice gnawing away at you, it is a time to share that information. That's really interesting actually. I'll get one more because I feel like it's very focused on one thing with the magnifying glass. I do feel for a lot of people it is a sense of looking into what it is that is gnawing away at you in general, what you feel your imperfections are, where you feel like you're not coming up to scratch, and looking closer at what that identity wound is. So that is the energy for the full moon in Aries. The timestamps are listed below for each of the individual zodiac signs. I do hope you enjoy, and I will talk to you soon. Bye. Hi Aries, sun, moon, and rising. Whew, Aries. This is a big one for you. Regardless of whether you're sun, moon, or rising, the full moon is going to be impacting you. It might make you feel more emotional. It might make you feel a little bit more sensitive because it is conjunct Chiron. So you might be noticing that you are thinking quite closely about what it is that you have achieved, what your personal goals are, how you feel you're doing. It can be like this self-assessment, this inventory that you do on yourself and think, am I achieving what I want to? Am I living the way that I want to? What are my personal goals? And this is the time to really get clear on that. Your unconscious is very loud at this particular full moon, so do pay attention to any feelings of self-lack or self-belief or insecurity that does come up for you at this time, because these are things that if you lean into them and get curious about them, you can use them to your advantage. This is about turning your weakness into power, so to speak, because sometimes the vulnerabilities that we have actually lead us to our success. And sometimes what is blocking our success is also our fear that we're not good enough. But you sometimes have to ask what it is that sets you, why you wouldn't be good enough and someone else would be. There's a lot of programming going on there, but it's about leaning into what it is that you truly want and understanding that you can achieve it or you can have it. And if you feel like you can't, it's a good time to lean into that and do a little bit of work into why. And I'm not saying you have to go after every dream under the sun if you want to go to the moon, but you don't believe it's completely feasible. It's more about tuning into the dreams that you feel you're resonating with. Things that are actually resonating with you. And if you want to go to the moon, you go to the moon. But I think it's more about leaning into what it is that you're truly resonating with and what you feel a sense of connectedness to at this time. Because unconsciously, those dreams are going to be coming up. Unconsciously, those goals are going to be coming up, and you're going to want to focus on them. You're going to want to know what you want. And it's entirely possible at this time too that you have accomplished something or you're accomplishing something. And it might also be too at this time that you are sharing yourself with the world. You're more exposed. People are more likely to notice you. So if there's something or someone that you want, this is a time to be seen because you are more likely to be noticed. So Aries, your card is the Labyrinth. I was actually just at a maze like this on the other night, Sunday night, and it's kind of funny in this card how they're wandering around this maze and they're all going to meet in the middle eventually. So you might be feeling a little bit lost at this time. You might be feeling a little bit confused as to where you're going, but I think this card always comes up as a sign that you're going in the right direction, but you have to follow your instinct. You have to follow your own personal instinct, because when you're in a maze, you really don't have anything else. And with this full moon, your instincts and your intuition are pretty sharp. So that's what I have for you, Aries. Hope you have a beautiful full moon. Talk soon. Hi, Taurus, Sun, Moon, and Rising. Welcome to your full moon and Aries forecast. So Taurus, this full moon is happening in your 12th house. This is the unseen. This is the subconscious, the unconscious. This is a place where things are hidden from you, maybe internally or maybe externally. This full moon typically highlights these areas. It brings attention to it. It can be very wild for your dreams. I just want to say that to you now. In fact, with the aspect to Chiron, your dreams may be releasing you from something that has been pent up inside for a long time. You might be having dreams that are quite painful in nature, but if you are, it's because your subconscious, unconscious is resolving something. Something is coming up. And it might be to do with the fact that it's Libra season and Venus is in your 6th house with the sun. And perhaps you are getting more exercise. Perhaps you're eating better. Perhaps your habits are encouraging you to have deeper sleep or better sleep, and your dreams are more vivid. Or perhaps you are not having good sleep, your sleep patterns are affected, and therefore you're having those dreams where you go back to sleep and they're very, very wild. They're telling you something, Taurus. So do journal your dreams around this time, or write them on your phone, or do a voice note or something to see how you're doing. Anything around tracking your sleep is good at this time too. But you can make a lot of headway with your deeply embedded limiting beliefs if you have them, which we all do. So you will probably have some stuff come to the surface in the form of an insecurity or an odd behavior on your end that you don't understand, but you, upon reflection, will see why you're doing it, and you will know what it is that's driving you internally. It's very psychological, this full moon, but it's very healing. Alternatively, it can also be that you find that something in your life comes to a close, something ends, and it can be a time of letting something go, or letting someone go, or just a closing of a cycle with this full moon, because it is the 12th house as well. So let's give you a tarot card, Taurus, and see what we have. Ooh, the key. So yes, it's alright. So by finding the key, this is 33. So you might be seeing 333 repeatedly. I think you're getting the key on something though. Something's getting unlocked. You're getting a download. You're getting insight. I think it's very unconscious. A dream could be the key. And you might be really getting some insight into what it is that's going on with you. Something that is a bit of an epiphany moment or a eureka moment or makes sense. I think around this full moon, you're getting an answer more than anything else, Taurus, to something that you have wanted an answer on. So that's what I have for you, Taurus, and I'll talk to you soon. Hi, Gemini. So Gemini, this full moon is in your 11th house. This is the house of friendships, groups, your social life. It's also your aspirations. This could be a pretty social full moon for you. You might notice a lot of people want your attention. You might be surrounded by events. You might be surrounded by friends. If not, your online life could be very vivid around this time, especially if you work online. This can be a time where you're getting very clear on what it is that you want from your friendships, what it is that you want from your future, and what it is that you want to achieve in the long run. What are your aspirations, and who do you want to be there working with you or cheering you on? With the aspect to Chiron, I do think a lot of you might be finding that you're realizing if the people around you are good for you or they're not good for you. You might also notice if you have any wounding surrounding friendships, groups, teams, aspirations. Any of these woundings might come to the surface around this time, and you may become aware of some deeply embedded limiting beliefs surrounding maybe achieving a dream, or maybe the people you're surrounded with. Surrounded by. I can't even blame Mercury retrograde anymore. It's not in retrograde, it's still in shadow, but it's not in retrograde. Yeah, so you know what I mean. It could be that you have some wounding surrounding your friendships, surrounding the people that you are associating with, or maybe even surrounding social media. Some of you might find that you take a social media break around this time, or a detox around this time that's very good for your well-being, even if it's just for a couple of days. But if you get very honest with yourself around this full moon and say what it is that you want to feel from your peers, and also what it is that you would like for your goals, you will notice if you have any drawbacks, something that holds you back, something that says no. You know, if you've wounding with a friendship, for example, where you've been very hurt by friends, you might say, well, no, I don't want to make any new friends because they'll hurt me. Or you might say, I don't think I can achieve this because XYZ. You can catch that voice and see where it is. With full moons in the 11th, sometimes we do let go of a group or friendship, or we leave a team. And with the aspect of Chiron, this is in some way going to teach you something that is going to help you, and you will see the beauty in eventually. If you are wrapping up a dream at this time, it may have been something that you worked very hard to achieve and you learned something from as well. It might be something that has taught you an important lesson, Gemini. Ooh, we have the home card coming up. So maybe some of you are saying, no, I don't want to be social, I want to be a homebody. With the home card, this is very soul tribe, which is related to friendships. You might find yourself connecting with people that feel like soul family around this time, Gemini. You might connect with people that feel like you've known them forever. You might connect with people you've known in past lives, or you might be finding yourself moving, making a move at this time, or changing locations, or having some kind of conversation surrounding the home and family that is important to you at this time. So I have for you, Gemini, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye. Cancer, Sun, Moon and Rising. So Cancer, this full moon is happening in your 10th house. This is the role that you play in the world. This is your public image. This is your career. This is your external persona and how you define yourself and how others define you. So for you, Cancer, you might notice around this time that your career, your goals, or your role in life is highlighted. Maybe there's more demands being made on you at work, or if you are a parent, or if you're a spouse, whatever your title is, you may notice there is a lot of that being highlighted in your life. You're really having to step into that role. And you might notice, especially if something is coming up surrounding career, you might notice that you are, oh, a fly. Oi. I've got a friend, I don't know if you can see him or not. Yeah, he's there. You might notice that you're feeling a little bit insecure about that. So it could be that you get a promotion and you say, this is brilliant. And then you start to think, oh, can I actually do this? Like the honeymoon period of it, of the achievement, just goes down and you think, actually, can I do this? Am I right for this? Or something maybe comes up in your career that triggers that wound of, am I good enough at this, or can I achieve this? And it's important to let that voice come up, because with this full moon, it is showing you what's underneath, and just pushing it back down again means it'll stay there. And this full moon is saying to you, Cancer, that you're wanted to step into your power surrounding this role. You're wanted to move into this energy, because next year Jupiter is going to do a full swing through your 10th house, and you would be better to sort of let those wounds come up around this time, so that you know what is underneath and how to turn that pain into power, how to work with your weaknesses as well as your strengths. Because if you've ever done a job interview, you will know that they will ask you at times, what is your weakness? And you have to turn that into power. That's what the energy of this full moon is. Say that my weakness is this, and I've overcome this by da 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 da. That's how you move with this full moon. Especially if you have a job interview around this time, it's very likely they would ask about your weaknesses and how you've overcome them. You might also become aware around this time what your weaknesses are and how you have overcome them. And you might feel very proud about that. And there could be, for sure, something coming up surrounding career. Oh, the Fox card came up. I think this has come up for you before. One of you watching this definitely has something to do with foxes. Maybe it's your spirit animal. But I would associate this card a little bit with self-sabotage, a little bit with thinking I actually also associate this with imposter syndrome, thinking you have to maybe play games or have to do things sneakily, or you're not doing things honestly. It's that feeling like, am I doing this? Am I legitimately in this position because I'm right for it, or have I bluffed my way to the top? Those type of feelings might come up, and you can find a way to work through them and take back your personal power and your personal belief when it comes to being a boss, employee, or mother or father, or whatever the role is that might trigger a little bit of insecurity around this time. You are enough. That's what I have for you, Cancer, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye. Hi Leo, Sun, Moon and Rising. So Leo, this full moon is happening in the 9th house. You may be traveling around this time. The full moon in the 9th house can indicate travel plans. It can also bring up, because of Chiron, if you have any fears of flying, any fears of traveling, any fears of, or any limiting beliefs surrounding these areas can come up around this time, and it's a great time to process them. This is also a time that is highlighting your higher self and your higher education. So it's quite a spiritual full moon. For a lot of you that are traveling, you could be traveling for university or study, or you could be traveling to gain more spiritual awareness, or if you're not traveling with those motivations, it may be that if you are taking a trip, be it short, be it far, it may be that you are gaining some kind of spiritual perspective or clarity around this time, particularly surrounding your purpose potentially. But I do feel with this full moon, because of Chiron, if you have any wounding surrounding your beliefs, so this can be, for example, maybe now you practice astrology, but you were raised in a very Catholic upbringing, and there can be that fear of divination, or say you find yourself to be a psychic, and you know you have psychic abilities, but you were raised in a religion that said that psychics were not to be trusted and a sin, or something like this. Any wounding surrounding your belief system can come up at this time too. In order for you to help others through this, you could have some amazing spiritual conversations around this time, or you could be finding yourself connecting with healers who help you through your belief system, or you might find around this time you're a healer and you want to teach people something. There's a very destined element to this, I feel, for you, Leo, because we do have the nodes moving through your 10th house and your 4th house at the moment. So I feel like with this full moon conjunct Chiron, anything surrounding your beliefs, anything surrounding your worldview is up for a little bit of investigation, a little bit deeper around this time. And because it's Jupiter and it's the 9th house, I feel for you it could be to do with teaching or learning from somebody else. So let's see what we have for you, Leo, for this full moon in Aries. The dice. This is so funny. This always puts The Gambler by Kenny Chesney into my head. The 9th house can be pretty lucky. I feel like you are maybe taking a gamble on something. I feel like you're maybe you're maybe doing something a little bit differently. You're maybe feeling more adventurous with the full moon in the 9th house. And obviously Jupiter is there as well. Jupiter will actually leave your 9th house at the end of this month, and you'll get it next year for a good portion. But I do feel for you that maybe this is about taking a gamble on something, maybe rolling the dice, seeing where they land. And some of you I'm also getting could be getting quite into numerology around this time. But I'm also noticing the heart underneath. Those of you that are single might be taking a gamble on love or taking a gamble with your heart. So that could be that, say you're dating someone and you're a bit hesitant about it and you're thinking, well, maybe I don't want to get hurt, and you're thinking, but actually if I don't try I'll never know. Or maybe you're taking a gamble and following your heart on something, or you're doing something that just is exciting but is true to your heart. That's what I have for you, Leo. That's quite exciting. That can also be maybe at the moment you are noticing a little bit of an upturn in your romantic life. So that's what I have for you, and I will talk to you soon. Bye. Hi Virgo, Sun, Moon and Rising. So Virgo, this woman is happening in your 8th house. So let me tell you about the 8th house. Everyone's scared of the 8th house. Don't be scared of the 8th house. The 8th house is to do with our psychology. So this full moon can be quite an intense one for you. It's about merging, it's about the soul, it is about our inner psychology, how we work, it's about the occult, it's about the mystical. All the stuff with someone with an 8th house stellium fascinates me. So the way that I'm seeing this 8th house for you, because Chiron is there, if you've any wounding surrounding the occult, if you've any wounding surrounding psychology, these are great times for insights. You might notice yourself seeing an astrologer or a tarot reader or a psychic and getting this real clarity on a limiting belief or something that is in your soul that is holding you back, because Chiron shows us where our wounds are and how we use them to our advantage. For a lot of you, you might learn something about yourself, and it could be something psychological. Maybe, for example, you got a diagnosis and at first you were upset about it, and then it made a lot more sense. You know the way some people say when they get a psychological diagnosis, they actually feel relief? And this isn't a matter of self-diagnosing, obviously, but this is more to do with figuring out what's going on within you. So say you come across a book that talks about your attachment style and you realize you're anxious attached and you notice your relationships. That knowledge frees you. That knowledge can actually help break a pattern. And that's what you're doing here. You're getting the awareness of a pattern and you're breaking it. On the more mundane level, this can be financial. This can be that something comes up surrounding your finances, maybe your financial relationship with someone else. Or this can be a time where you're simply way deeply invested in a conspiracy, or you're way deeply invested in true crime, and all that stuff is just sucking you in, Virgo. But this is a wonderful time for a little bit of self-analysis or exploring the potentials of what's going on within you on a psychological level. If you do see a therapist, you might notice around this time you have a bit of a breakthrough, Virgo. So let's see what your tarot says for this full moon. It says, ooh, the Tower. Nice. And underneath is the Clover. So I do feel like for a lot of you, if you're trying to build something, it is telling you that now is the right time to figure out the foundations. Your ruler Mercury has gone direct, it's in shadow, and you might be noticing that you're becoming very aware of systematically what's not working with you. You might have been feeling incredibly sensitive, maybe a little bit mentally, nervously fried or something. You might have been feeling a little bit of intense energy that way, and you're becoming very aware of what is not serving you internally and how you're going to use that to build a better structure for yourself. Because if you understand yourself better, Virgo, you make choices that are more supportive of you, because that knowledge of what's going on internally, from that perspective, from that analysis, and the 8th house is a wonderful time for analysis. From that knowledge internally, you're able to build a better structure for yourself, and you're also better equipped to merge with other people. The 8th house is about merging. So you might notice around this time, if you have any fears surrounding intimacy, any fears surrounding connection, trust issues, they can come up for you to get a little bit of insight into why they're there and how they are not serving you, or maybe they are serving you, but you're getting the knowledge. That's what you're seeing, and you may have moments that show you where these fears are and why they're there. So a lot of you could be getting past life readings, the Akashic Records, that's something like that. You would do very well around this time to seek a mystic, because with Chiron there, you can really heal some things going on internally. So that's what I have for you, Virgo. Talk soon. Hi Libra, Sun, Moon and Rising. So Libra, this is happening in your opposite sign of Aries. This is the 7th house for you. This is to do with relationships. We do have a Sun-Venus conjunction in your sign, which means that you are probably looking pretty flawless right about now. Probably looking your absolute best. And that is probably giving you this lovely Venusian glow that you possess anyway, but is more profound, more pronounced. This full moon is bringing the attention to your relationships. So because it's conjunct Chiron, don't shoot the messenger. But you might notice if you've any wounding surrounding relationships or surrounding the relationship you're in. This can be a time where any hurt feelings, any wounds surrounding the idea of being in a relationship or your partner or your relationship status, those hurt feelings can come up. Now, they can come up in a wonderful way and they can be talked through. Now that Mercury is direct, they can be resolved, they can be healed, there can be respect, there can be bonding, especially because you're so charming. Or it can come up that maybe you're realizing, I need to work on this, I need to change this because this isn't serving me and my relationships. And that internal work that you're doing is going to benefit the relationships that you're in. So relationship matters do come to the fore. And if you're not in a relationship at all, it can be that it's how you feel about relationships and maybe not having one or the type of one you would like in the future. If you do meet someone around this full moon, they could be a healer. They could be someone that works in the healing professions, maybe doctor, maybe nurse, maybe shaman, maybe mystic, anything like that, maybe Reiki. It could be that you meet someone around this time romantically who is a healer. If you do meet somebody, physio, anything like that. So, because there's this full moon, you could meet somebody, Libra. I'm not gonna lie, you could. Just with Chiron there, it could be someone that's got that healing vibe. So, let's see what the cards say for Libra for this full moon. Ooh, 22. Ooh, nice. We have the choices and we have the heart. You have a choice coming up with this full moon, Libra. Maybe it's between two people, maybe it's between your head and your heart, maybe it is choosing love, not choosing love, maybe it's getting married, maybe it's not getting married. Either way, you seem to have a choice surrounding your romantic life. And it is saying to you, whichever choice you make, go with your heart, because that's the heart card. That's as clear as it can get. You may also be noticing swans around this time as spirit messengers, Libra. So that's what I have for you. I hope you have a beautiful full moon and I'll talk to you soon. Bye. Hi Scorpio, Sun, Moon and Rising. So Scorpio, this full moon is happening in your 6th house of health and well-being. This is a time to take inventory on your health. So you may be getting, I've just realized I'm a Scorpio and I'm getting a health check. It just, see, sometimes it applies to the sun more than the rising. You may be getting a health check around this time. You might be noticing something to do with your physical well-being, your mental well-being. You might be noticing that you want to change up your routine. You might be seeing what isn't working for you in your routine and changing it. With Chiron here, there's a potential. Okay, there's just a potential. But you might be noticing if you suffer from something that affects your self-esteem or your self-image, your body image. Maybe it's to do with the gym, maybe it's to do with your diet, and maybe this is something that is making you feel not your best, and maybe you're noticing that there is something unhealthy going on that you could really notice around this time, and the knowledge of it is power. So you might notice if you're pushing yourself too hard at the gym, you might notice if you're eating too little, you might notice if your body image is feeling very skewed. That can happen to people during Libra season in general. People can become very insecure about their appearance, and because this full moon is conjunct Chiron and it's in the sign of Aries, you might be noticing that too. So it's a good time to lean into that, notice where it comes from, notice if you want to figure out a way to work with it. Self-care is a big theme around this time, but not self-care in a toxic sense, not self-care in the I will do this to get this result so then I'll be better at this. It's about I'm doing this because I need it, I love and respect myself, and I want to do this for me. That's more the approach. We do have a Sun-Venus conjunction in your 12th house, so you may find that meditation, sleep, what are they called? Subliminals, hypnosis, these type of things could really be helping you with your health at this time. You might also notice that you encounter unusual physical symptoms if you're not getting enough sleep, such as like your eye twitching or something like that. Scorpio. You might also be accomplishing a goal around this time, dietary wise, fitness wise, well-being wise, or you might be, a lot of you could be taking up yoga, I'm not gonna lie, or taking up some kind of meditation or breathing focus. And it could really help you around this full moon, Scorpio. It could be very healing for you. Your card, I just knew this was gonna come up. Just knew it. The Coffin. This isn't what you think. You are the sign of death. I do think a lot of you around this time could be having some unusual dreams. I do think your sleep could be unusual because there's so much in the 12th house. I think a lot of you could be really focusing very heavily on healing and really taking care of your well-being around this time, Scorpio, and knowing that that's pivotal. I'll give you a clarifier. The Cross. Sorry, that's just such an odd combination. Some of you could be, wow. Coffin and the Cross. Some of you could be realizing just how linked. I would be honest, I would say most of you probably have a lot of self-awareness if you watch astrology videos, because if you watch astrology videos, you learn a lot about the self, you learn a lot about your sign, you learn a lot about all types of components that make up astrology, be it psychology, be it healing, anything like this. I'd say a lot of you have self-awareness. But if you have a blind spot that is sabotaging you in a big way, you will notice it around this full moon. And it is saying to you, pay attention. Don't take a gamble on your health. Pay attention. Look after yourself better. I think a lot of you might be getting a bit of a wake-up call to look after yourself better. Not in a scary way, just in the sense that if you don't look after you, who will? You know what I mean? It's just like, do better for yourself. Do it from a place of self-compassion and self-love. And that is what it's asking you, Scorpio. I think it is also suggesting to you that maybe with that card, you're having to let go of a habit that is not serving you, like smoking, or something that is really bad for you. Well, you know, bad for you being by your definition. I'm not telling you what is or isn't bad for you, but something that is not working for you and something that you really need to get a handle on so that you can have your best life, basically. That's what I have for you, Scorpio. I hope you have a beautiful full moon. Talk soon. Bye. Hi, Sagittarius. I always want to say Sagittarius. I don't know. I just got into the habit of it. Sagittarius, this full moon is for you, happening in your 5th house of your hobbies, fun, pleasure, joy. And with Chiron there, you will heal through having fun. You will heal by being silly. You will heal by doing fun things. A lot of you could be working on your inner child at this time, and that can be by doing something completely inadvertent, by not realizing you're working on your inner child, by being goofy, by stopping off in a play park and going on the swing, by being silly, by wrapping yourself in bubble wrap and running into a wall. I'm not recommending that, I don't know, but it's something that is going to make you feel very childlike. And it's not about being childish, it's about being playful, about being fun. Maybe you're going to the theatre. Maybe you go see a play and you bawl your eyes out at whatever's going on the stage and you feel so much better for it. You're healing through fun, Sagittarius. So do something you really enjoy around this time. Be playful. Be safe. Don't actually wrap yourself in bubble wrap and run up against a wall. Although I think that's pretty safe if you're in bubble wrap, but you know what I mean. This is a full moon to enjoy yourself. This is a full moon to think about what makes you happy, especially creatively. So do something creative. Paint a picture. It's going to be incredibly cathartic, whatever it is that you're doing, as long as you focus on doing something you love to do, being playful. You might also notice if you have any wounding surrounding dating, surrounding your hobbies. Maybe you're doing them, maybe there's something you really love to do, but you felt like if it wasn't perfect, it wouldn't matter. So you stopped doing it because you didn't feel good enough at it. This is saying to be creative and be messy doing it, and to accept the fact that you're not always going to be perfect at the things you love to do, and that's okay. You love them because they're good for your soul, not because you're necessarily meant to make millions out of them. You can do things and enjoy them without needing to make something of it. Perfect, we have the puppy. If some of you have a dog, you might be playing with your dog more around this time or really enjoying your dog's company. I think a lot of you could be finding with this puppy card that you are feeling that puppy kind of feeling. Maybe for some of you that are dating, it feels like puppy love. Maybe some of you are feeling really joyful, really playful, I think, around this time. And this card is just that little reminder to embrace that energy, Sagittarius. Talk to you soon. Bye. Hi Capricorn, Sun, Moon and Rising. Capricorn, this full moon is happening in your 4th house. You might be a little bit of a home body. This might be a time when you want to stay close to home. This might be a time when you want to lay low, because it could be a very busy time for you career-wise or in whatever role you do. So say you're a parent, you could have had a lot on with your kids. Say you are a CEO, you could have been needed in every direction, every state, every continent. And this is a time when you want to take a little bit of a moment to just be at home with your family. And you might notice as well around this time, if you are at home, you could be quite sensitive. You could be quite sensitive to your family members. You could be quite sensitive regarding home or family issues, because Chiron is there. So some of your past wounding might be coming up or be triggered around this time. You might notice where you have something you thought you dealt with in childhood that was a long time ago, a way you felt about yourself, or a way you felt to a parent, and that feeling might be triggered around this full moon. Just know that in the awareness of that, you may actually end up feeling a lot better because you process it. It's quite cathartic. And you might notice a parent dynamic that you had, something you had with a parent. If you have children, you might notice something comes up surrounding your own kids, and you realize how much you've grown, how much you've developed, how much you've learned from your own experience, and how you're putting that towards your children. Or you might notice that maybe if you have children, they're mirroring your insecurities or something like that, and you're thinking, okay, I know how to deal with this because I've dealt with this myself. With Chiron, it's about the wounds you've experienced, the hurts you've experienced, and how you use that to help. So in family matters or in home matters, you might be feeling a little bit triggered, but you may notice as well at the same time that you are better at handling them. You might notice your growth from the past. But family matters, home matters could come up indeed around this time. Or you might just be feeling more sensitive and want to be at home. You might feel like you just want to be with your family. You might just want to keep it low. You might just want to lay low. You might want to make everything cozy. You might want to decorate your space. Especially if something in your space reminds you of a past hurt. You might let go of an item that reminds you of something or someone from the past. Like Sagittarius, you got the puppy. So a lot of you could be enjoying time with dogs around this time. A lot of you could be embracing a more playful attitude as well with the puppy card. I'm going to get you another one because that's very similar to Sagittarius, Capricorn. Oh wow, we have the child. Okay, so there's a very playful childlike energy for you around this time. It's asking you to get back in touch with your childhood dreams, what you wanted to do. Some of you could be dealing with a child at this time. They could be the center of your attention at this point. For some of you, it could be news surrounding a pregnancy. Some of you could be having a baby and getting a dog all at the same time. Or you could just be thinking what would make your home its happiest in the future. That's what I have for you, Capricorn, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye. Hi Aquarius, Sun, Moon and Rising. Aquarius, this full moon is happening for you in your 3rd house. This is to do with communication. It is to do with news, messages. It's also to do with our social circle, our neighborhood and our siblings, and also cousins. So any of these relationships could be in the spotlight. Now, Chiron is there conjunct this full moon. So you might be having very healing conversations. You might notice yourself being more reactive to other people's words, and you might catch yourself and think, why is this affecting me? Where is this coming from? You could be partial to taking things the wrong way, I will say, especially if it comes to a sibling or a neighbor or someone in your social circle. You might be noticing around this time that you want to remove yourself from people in your environment that you don't feel are good for your mental well-being. You may notice if you have any repetitive or negative thoughts come up around this time. They're harder to ignore. If you have a tricky internal dialogue, it will get louder for you to understand it. And you may notice that perhaps having had a harsh inner dialogue, you've become a fantastic communicator and you're really good at telling people what they need to hear in that moment. I don't mean lying to them, but I mean telling them, giving them advice that's helpful, or giving them encouragement which is helpful, or just knowing the right thing to say when someone's in difficulty. You might notice that you have a greater gift for communication than you thought based on the wounds that you have. You might be writing a book or a poem or something that comes from a place of hurt, and you're turning it into something that inspires others, Aquarius. This is a wonderful time for using your words to heal and having healing conversations. That is what I'm seeing for you. And with the Sun conjunct Venus in your 9th house, which is very expansive, very rooted in faith, you might be talking about your belief system, you might be talking about the world, you might be talking about, with your higher self, because that's what's in the 9th house. But this is a time where words have a lot of power and they can be used to heal around this time. And you can really use your own gift of communication to better yourself and those around you, Aquarius. We have the man for you, so a male is playing a key role for you around this time with the cross. Could be a healer. You could be working with a male who is a healer, someone who is very spiritual. You could be talking to someone about their beliefs. You could be talking to someone about religion, spirituality, spiritual practices. You could find just the right spiritual healer. And the dice, interesting. And then there's the heart underneath. Some of you could also be taking a gamble on love with someone who you share a lot in common with belief or faith-wise. That's something that I'm seeing for you. I think the dice can also be a very lucky omen. Maybe this is you're dating somebody who is a good fit for you intellectually, or it's a sign that you're in a good relationship with someone who is a fit for you intellectually and spiritually, and just a reminder to be thankful of that. And perhaps that's where your interesting conversations are coming from. As I have for you, Aquarius, and I'll talk to you soon. Pisces, Sun, Moon and Rising, welcome to your forecast. Pisces, this full moon is in Aries. This for you is very much about the money. You could be coming into some money around this time. Full moons in the 2nd is often a time when money manifests. Now, Chiron is there, so this would be a wonderful moon for you to release limiting beliefs surrounding money, surrounding your abundance, surrounding the amount of money you can make, surrounding the amount of money that you deserve. And it can also be to do with values. So if you have any wounds surrounding your values, what are your values and principles? And do you feel like you've had to change them based on the hurt that you've had? Like maybe you don't believe anymore that people are trustworthy. Pains like that can come up for you to work with them, transmute them, and make them your power, make them your success story. So for you, Pisces, this is a good full moon to pay attention to your relationship with money, but also your relationship with your value systems, and also what you want from other people. Perhaps with the Sun-Venus conjunction in your 8th house, with Venus ruling your 8th house, perhaps it's what you want from other people on an emotional and an intimate level, and you're understanding what your values are better there. Or maybe you're healing your self-worth around this time, Pisces, and you're starting to get a lot more confident and know what you deserve. And maybe this full moon you're having an epiphany of, I could do better than I've been doing. I deserve better than I've been receiving. I should be making more than I am. I'm going to mention it and I'm going to receive it. Anything like that. But I do feel for a lot of you with the Sun-Venus conjunction, because Venus rules your 2nd house and it's aspecting this full moon in your 2nd house. A lot of you could be coming into some money at this time, or your pay could be going up, Pisces. Let's get you a card. The man. The man again. He's come up so many times in this reading, and underneath is the woman. So if you are heterosexual, there could definitely be a relationship that is highlighted at this time. If you're in it, or if you're looking for one, there could be one on the cards. And even if you're not, this can be a wonderful friend of the opposite sex. This can be someone that you're really feeling very connected to. Ooh. We have the owl, and underneath we have the fish. I do feel like for a lot of you, you're communicating with someone around this time. And I feel with the rose, it's potentially a romance for you if you're interested in men. You could, and if you're not interested in men, you could be hearing from a key male figure in your life. And with the key, I feel like this is very important information. So pay attention to who you're talking to around this time, because I do feel like there could be a very important conversation coming up for you, Pisces, especially if it's with a male. I feel like something is being unlocked with the key. There's a key message. There's a key conversation, something very significant. I'm so nosy. The ring, ooh. Yours is so spicy. You could be having a key conversation. If you're in a relationship, you could be discussing your future plans, your commitment plans. You could be making a commitment. You could be planning a future together. And for those of you that are not in a relationship, you could be meeting someone who could have long-term potential, is what I'm seeing, Pisces. That's what I have for you anyway. I hope you have a beautiful full moon, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.